Happy Thursday, Facebook friends. Welcome back to Facebook. I'm Angie Garza, Director of Professional Learning and Educational Services at ROE 47, serving Lee, Ogle, and Whiteside counties. And if you're tuning into Facebook this fine Thursday, welcome to Teacher Talk. This month, the month of March, we are celebrating women's history by taking a closer look at our educational community and educators, women who inspire us. As always, for our thoughtful, reflective, inspiring conversations, I have with me this morning my friend, colleague, and co-host, and someone who inspires me, Ms. Stacy Dingus. Good morning, Ms. Stacy.
Good morning, Angie. Happy to be here again on yet another Thursday Teacher Talk. I mentioned last Thursday that I have really enjoyed doing these recordings this month, being able to sit down and talk to some women that we are interacting with on a professional level, but having more of a personal conversation. I'm always looking for some inspiration, and I'm really finding it this month. So I'm really enjoying this and ready to get today started.
Stacy, I can't agree with you more. We've had some really inspirational moments this month, which is great for our educational community and also highlights all of the wonderful women that we have serving in education and in leadership roles. As we work with our students and our families and our communities. And this morning, my friends, is no different. I have a special guest this morning who probably needs very little introduction. We are pleased to welcome to Teacher Talk this morning, Kathleen Schipper, who is the principal at Riverbend Middle School. So good morning, Kathleen. Thanks so much for being here and joining us this morning.
Thanks, Angie. Thanks, Stacy. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be part of these. I enjoy watching these teacher talks. I've tuned in on a few of them on Facebook here and there. And so I feel very honored to be a part of today's conversation. Thank you.
Well, Kathleen, we are so thrilled to have you here because you are a woman in education, a friend who I have known for a very long time, who has done some incredible things, both personally and professionally. And so we really want to hear more about your story this morning. So why don't we start off our Teacher Talk this morning with having you just kind of tell us a little bit about your journey, about your story, about who you are and, what makes you tick?
Well, I come from a family of educators, and so that's where my passion and love for education came from. My dad was at one time, my dad was a high school principal, superintendent, and head football coach, all in our hometown. And so it was just a part of our lives and something we just did every day. But I also loved math. I can remember in second grade staying in from recess, doing math contests with my friends on the math board, and of course, back then the math was taught a lot differently than it is now. But anyway, that was, I just had a love for math, and I had important, wonderful teachers in my life growing up in my school system and then in my siblings. I'm one of 7 children. And I'm towards the end. I'm number 6 of 7, and several of us are involved in education and have taken that path of our lives. And so it was a pretty easy choice for me, and so I started out as a high school math teacher. I've actually worked in 5 different schools. I started teaching in Leland, Illinois, which is over between Ottawa and DeKalb, small little K-12, and I was the high school math teacher, and that's where I got involved in and started my love for administration as well. And then I got into administration and eventually moved myself here to Fulton. I'm finishing my 25th year as a building principal this year. I had 13 at the high school level and 12 at the middle school level. And I'm ecstatic, I guess I'll say, that I'm finishing it at the middle school level. That's been a fun venture for me. I really enjoy middle school children and the excitement that they bring and every day, and they still are willing to give you a hug, and most days they're so willing to listen to you when you want to talk about something. And so forth. But on a personal level, I'm married to my husband, Lynn, and we've lived here in Fulton for the last 25 years, basically. And we have 3 boys. My oldest son is going to be an educator as well. I have a middle son that is also in college. And then my youngest son is a junior in high school. So.
Hey, Kathleen, we have something in common. I was a middle school teacher. Have spent some time in the middle school and really enjoyed it. But a lot of people sometimes are like, oh, that middle school age. So tell us a little bit about Riverbend Middle School. What are some things that you're proud of, some extracurriculars there? Share a little bit about your school and tell us the time that you've spent there. What's been going on?
Well, I don't know if you remember Jim Spielman, but Jim Spielman was the principal before me. And he actually is the one that convinced me to move to the middle school level. Again, at the time, my children were young and the nights are different in regards to responsibilities, just not quite as late and that kind of thing. And at first I was like, I don't know. I've always been a high school person. Anyway, just come, spend some time with me. I promise you. And I did. And I've been forever thankful for him for that encouragement and move. This building is just a great building. And a lot of that has to do with Jim. He did a great job building a team and a great culture, but it also has a ton to do with the staff that is involved here. We have a lot of veteran staff in our building, and there were just team players. We kind of joke with ourselves that we're the middle child and whatever, but when something needs to be done, I can say to the staff, okay, here's what we need to do. And we all pitch in and we get it done. We do a lot of fun things. We work really hard to make school fun and make learning fun, whether it just be in the individual classroom that we work with, or whether it be as a building-wide activity. We do different themes each year. One year we have a career theme, career and college readiness, and we talk about their future. And we don't focus only on college, but we try to expose them to all kinds of careers and the military and jobs after high school, and understanding that, just start thinking about what you want to do. You don't have to know what you're going to do, but, start thinking about it and start pursuing areas that you think would be your passion. Another theme that we have is called Paw It Forward. And it's basically a pay it forward theme in which every year the student, or when it's that theme, the students in their homerooms, this year we gave them $200 and they had to go, each homeroom had to put together some kind of project in which they were paying it forward in the community, in the state, in the nation. And then it's kind of a secret, like then we have like a big assembly and so forth. Unfortunately, this year we just had to put together a presentation. Everybody made a little video, and then we showed all the videos in each classrooms because it was in the winter and it was due to COVID. We still did it that direction, but that's one of my favorites. And we've done things where we've gone out and last time we had this theme in the spring, we contacted people in the community and went and cleaned up their yards and had a big community cleanup thing. So just trying to get the kids to understand the civic duties that we hold and that are responsible for in our communities. And the last theme that we run is called Wellness. We typically do our themes on Wednesdays, so we called it Wellness Wednesdays. And that's where we spend a lot of time talking about their social and emotional and academic health, and why it's important to be balanced in all of those areas and to be healthy in all of those areas and ways they can do that. And with all the themes, like I said, we pick one day a week that we either show short videos or we teach different lessons to the kids based on whatever the theme is. And so it's just something that we think is fun and, different that we offer to the students. Another thing that I can say about our building is I've been here for 12 years. And I think in the 12 years that I've been here, we've only had 2 students that we've had to consider for retention. We work really hard on getting the kids to meet the academic requirements. We believe that, if you care and work with the kids, one-on-one, and show them why it's important and help them, that they'll be successful. And I think our data shows that that's been the case. And so this community, I believe the community of Fulton is very similar to the community I grew up in. It's bigger, but everybody pulls together and supports each other with whatever it may be. I went through my own personal journey about 5.5 years ago with some health issues, and this community just rallied behind my family and helped us through that journey. And we've done it for other ones since then. It doesn't matter if it's a sporting event. The whole town shows up and they're all there for you. And so they're just really supportive and helpful to you. And so it's just really been a great place for us to raise our children and to live and spend our careers.
So Kathleen, one of the reasons why, as we were planning out our teacher talks for this month, is we wanted to find people who, I think we all need a little bit of inspiration right now. And so you were one of the first people that we thought of. And, as you were talking, I thought about, some of the things you were saying. So, your collaboration with the community, really having compassion for students. And so for me and for Stacy and for all of our listeners, that is certainly something that reinvigorates us, and wants us, drives us to kind of think about who we are and how we reach out and inspire others. So on that line, education sometimes is a tough road, and being a leader is a tough road. So in that line of inspiration, as we think about people who inspire us, have you had other women in your life that have inspired you on your educational journey, whether that's in the classroom or as an educational leader? Who are those people, and how did they impact your life?
Well, I think the most natural person is my mom. While my mom wasn't, sorry, I'm gonna be a little emotional about her, but while my mom wasn't a teacher per se, she was my first teacher. My mom is just a wonderful, wonderful woman. My mom is just a great lady, and she raised all 7 of us. She's a strong woman, and just taught us to go be what we wanted to go be, and nurtured the love for other people. She helped us nurture a love for our faith, and she still does that to this day. She's just a very important person in my life. And I joke sometimes, but it's true. I could call my mom and dad right now and say, hey, I need you to do this. And they'd say, okay. And they'd drop everything and they'd just come and do. And my mom and dad are 84 years old. So it's not something that's easy for them to do, but I've always been there for me. I also, when I was in college, I worked for another lady that's become a lifelong friend of mine. Winnie is her name. And she was a female boss and an executive, not in the world of education. I worked at a Dick Blick's art materials store, but I'm old. So back then it wasn't that common that, women were in leadership positions, and she and I became good friends first. But as I reflected back on my life, I realized that, she was an inspiration to me. She was somebody that made me realize that it didn't matter what sex you were, you can go do what you want to go do. And so, when I went to get my master's degree, I got an administration, and at 27 years old, I was a high school principal. So that was that they were 2 important people. I think since I've been in education, there's been people like Angie Garza, people like Kelly Livingood, people like that you don't want to disappoint, I guess I'll say. I feel like in some ways I pushed myself because I wanted those people to look up to me. I wanted those people to see that we can do this, and that we can be leaders, we can be high school principals, we can be middle school principals, and be a mom, and be a wife, and be involved in the community. And we can do it. It's, some days it's harder than others, but, so I was inspired by younger people pushing me in in their own way without even realizing probably that they were pushing.
Kathleen, you had shared earlier that you are celebrating your 25th year, which is quite an accomplishment. And as we look forward in the future of education, it goes without saying, most people know that, we are experiencing an educator shortage right now. And with all the crazy that has happened in the schools and the education system in the last couple of years, if you had any advice to give to young people that are thinking about pursuing a career in education, specifically maybe females, they came to you and said, either I'm considering it in college, or maybe they're fresh out of college in their first, second year of teaching. With all of your years of wisdom, what advice would you share with them?
Well, I would totally encourage people to go into education. I think it's a great career. I think it's been a great career for my family. I think we do important work, and I think people need to understand that we do it because we love kids. While I love learning, I also love kids, and I think that's the most important. If you can't come in and love kids and be passionate about kids, then don't do it, because that's the most important thing that we do. All of us can think back to junior high or elementary, whatever, and we don't necessarily remember that specific lesson. We remember that person, and we remember what an influence that person had on us. And I loved math because I loved my high school math teacher. He was just a great person, and so he made me love math. And so it was him first and math secondary. And so I would just really encourage people to, understand that relationships are so very, very important. We can't do it without, and we can't reach them all either. That's the other thing. That's why the buildings are made up of a bunch of people, because sometimes I can't relate with certain kids and or certain parents. And so that's why as a team, then I need to rely on this other teacher or counselor or whoever to help me work with that parent, because again, that just sometimes that happens. But I just think those are two really important things. You need to be passionate. You need to develop relationships with kids. The learning will come after that happens. And it'll come in ways that, are non-traditional ways of things that we teach kids. It's not necessarily us standing up at the front, teaching a lesson, but it's through a conversation that we may have. It's through laughing in the hallway. It's through giving each other whatever a hard time about whoever you like sports wise or whatever. I mean, just developing those kind of things on a regular basis. And I think it took me a little while to learn that coming into my career. I don't know that I put that first when I was, started teaching and or starting in administration. And then I worked with an assistant principal at one point that taught me a lot about building relationships. And since then, I think that's something I've worked really hard at.
So Kathleen, Stacy mentioned that I love curveballs. So I'm gonna I'm gonna close with this question because you've shared a lot with us about your journey, but we know that whether it's personally or because of our vocation, those journeys are never ending. So I don't know what you can share with us, but what's next for Kathleen Schipper?
Well, this is my last year as the middle school principal. Mr. Henrigan is going to take over this position, and he'll do a phenomenal job. And so I'm going to work for the district and do some curricular work for the district. I call it on a part-time basis. Basically, it's just less days, but so my husband is already retired, so it's a way for me to kind of step back. And it's a way for me to be able to get to work with high school and elementary teachers again, and develop, some ideas. One thing I think I pride myself on as well is that I haven't quit learning. And so there's new ways, new things, and some of them really aren't that new. I just was talking to a math teacher the other day, and we were talking about task-based learning. And I said, well, come on, we all know this has been around forever. We just don't take the time or the focus a lot of times to do those kind of things. And so, working on implementing some of those kind of things, providing support for the teachers in that manner. What are some of our priorities that we really want to focus on as a district, and help in that manner. And we have a lot of young administration in the district as well. So I will be working with them to do that. But I'm excited. I'm excited for a new road, a different road. I will definitely miss the kids. But I will still be in the building. So I get to see them on a regular basis.
Selfishly, I am super excited for you in that new role because, you are perfect in that regard. And it'll be just such a great opportunity for all of us to continue to work together, to benefit all of the teachers and students in Riverbend. So excited to hear that you are stepping into that role, and it'll be a great asset for the district. So kudos to you. That's amazing.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Good. So Kathleen, I always like to kind of take notes as we talk. And so as we wrap up our teacher talk for this Thursday, I like to think about words that describe people. And so I wrote down as you were sharing with us your journey and your story, I wrote down courage, collaboration, and community. And those are things that I see just kind of shining forth from you as an educator, as an educational leader, and someone who has put their heart into education over the last several years. And so it has and continues to be just such a joy and such a privilege to work with you and to learn with and from you. So again, thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you for all of your service and dedication, and so excited and looking forward to watching what you do in your new role in the district.
Thanks a ton. It's been a great, your office is wonderful to work with. I'm excited to work with you guys as well. And I appreciate you thinking of me this morning.
We wouldn't have it any other way. Facebook friends, that wraps up our Thursday edition of Teacher Talk. Stay tuned next Thursday for another edition of Teacher Talk, where we feature women who inspire us in education. And as we wrap up our Teacher Talk for this Thursday, make sure that you enjoy the rest of your day. Have an even better Friday. Have an amazing and restful, relaxing weekend, and we'll see you right back here next Thursday for another edition of Teacher Talk.